right, now what is your beef with me and Mars? We're talking about the curiosity as
let's do this quick. And believe me, you know, I don't know. There's been some contention that was erupted between you and me, but I want you to tell people, because I'm interested in your Jeff. I'm going to stop me if I'm wrong. Jeff has become convinced since his tour of the JPL facility at NASA,
right,
where he thinks, like as in most of Jeff's stories, those of you who are hardcore Harmenians, you know that when Jeff tells a story, there's a theme. Don't interrupt me.
You're talking about me. Why would I?
I'm gonna make up a story and try to fill it to the Jeff Davis template of storytelling. Jeff goes to a laundromat and he puts a shirt in the washing machine. And a beautiful Cuban woman is like watching him, and she comes over and she asks him why he's putting his shirt in the washing machine in quite that way. And he explains, I don't know. I thought that the shirt like needed to be cleaned first. And she puts a hand on his arm and says, "Thank you." And then she takes him back and introduces her family, and then she just fucks him blue. This Jeff has these. I don't think they're false. I think these things happen to Jeff. Jeff falls into these adventures that kind of revolve around his personality. Is people trust him and they open up to him and they want him to like them and things. So Jeff went to the JPL facility, Jet Propulsion Lab. Is that what that stands
Laboratory,
for?
Yeah.
Seems a little uninventive for rocket scientists.
I was invited by a friend to go to the Jet Propulsion Laboratory, and it was a tour from a guy that works, and I won't get too specific about his job, because I think that he was going to get in trouble for saying too much. So suffice to say, I go on a tour, and we get to there's a tour that everybody can go see, and you can see a little like mock-up of the Voyager probe and Cassini and stuff like that, and it's very cool. I like space travel stuff, and we're going kind of a little bit behind the scenes. He's like, this is not kind of on the regular tour, because I work on such and such a program, and we get to go see the rooms where they're building what is now called Curiosity, that I think last night actually successfully landed on Mars, and yeah, very cool. And back then they called the Mars Science Laboratory, like another uncreative.
Yeah, these people are real Shakespeare's over there.
And so we saw it, and it was just this big, gigantic thing about the size of a Prius. And it's got a big, meaningful, heavy, like, backhoe shovel on it and giant wheels, about 10 to 12 inches across. Like, this thing was mean. Like, the Rovers were the size of a coffee table. We're going back there with a purpose. Like, there's some big, robust...
Like, the previous one had little arms on it. It was like, we don't know if we'll find a bottle of wine, so there's a corkscrew. We might have to kill a moth, so there's a little moth there. Like we don't know what's going to happen. There's wheels on top and bottom. This thing was a bulldozer. We're sending a bulldozer to Mars.
This thing's going digging and analyzing, and it's very intense, and the people are very nervous. So now that thing that I got to see a little peek at, it's also very cool and very human. It made me so proud of humanity. Is laying on this titanium chassis with these big wheels in the corner and this big shovel with just a good old proper crescent wrench. Just some dude's wrench. Snap-on tools, the Adidas of tools.
You hear that, Nike?
Yeah.
You pieces of shit.
Cowards. So it was very cool, and so we're walking around the hallways. I'm talking to this guy, scientist, and he works. He's just about my age and a little younger, actually. No, about my age, and he works and he flies spaceships and stuff. It's very cool. And I said, "Were you there when the cameras turned on?"
He doesn't fly spaceships.
Huh? He does.
What?
I can't say which one. I don't want to get him in trouble.
What? He gets in trouble if they tell him what spaceship he flies?
The guy,
what is this, Battlestar Galactica?
I'll tell you. Look,
there's Cylons.
This is not an exaggeration. This is not yellow journalism here. I was walking to the thing, and there's all these pictures of all from Spirit and Opportunity, the two rovers, right?
You mean he controls spaceships?
Yeah. He
like with a joystick.
He sends math that flies probes and things around.
Okay, all right. I thought he was like
planets.
Starbuck or something. Like
no. He doesn't sit in them. Okay, we fly.
All right, okay.
Yeah.
Sorry, I was raised in the 70s.
We fly them remotely. These things, but and maybe one day there'll actually be people on Mars, because of what I think was going on in this conversation. I said, like, so when you were there. And when the cameras turned on and the first images were beamed back to Earth, and you didn't know if the thing was going to work, but you guys are all scientists. You guys watch sci-fi movies. Like you clearly all sci-fi, enthusiasts. When that camera turned on, weren't you all kind of holding hands and thinking, like, what if we just saw like a footprint or like a guy running by or a Snickers wrapper or some stuff, Like you don't know what you're going to see up there. And he goes, yeah, I'd be lying if I said that wasn't the case. I said, so what did you see? And he just kind of his eyebrows went up and he just kind of blushed a little bit. I go did you see something cool? He's like, it got kind of weird. And I go, what did you see? He's like, look at it. And he shook his head no, did the throat cut thing, and pointed at the ceiling. I'm like, what's in the ceiling? He's like, there's microphones. They're listening to us right now. I'm like, what did you fucking see? And he's like, stop it. I go, can we go outside? He's like, just stop it. Fucking stop it.
There's a little place next to the dumpster where they smoke cigarettes where there's no cameras.
Oh, yeah.
So anyways, when the Martian dick goes in your soup,
I'm like, dude,
it's like Men in Black.
Did you see a tree? Did you see did you find diamonds? What the fuck is going on up there? And he was real bummed out, and he walked away from me, and his face had turned like plaid. He was like really bummed out and nervous about some shit. He's like, I could lose my job. I can't talk about these missions. I was like, oh, fucking hell. So we walk outside, and I'm like, what's my friend Jerry that took me? He's like, dude, what did you say to so and so? I'm like, he was the guy that blew it. And he's like, yeah, he's all bummed out. He really wants you to stop talking about that. So then we go to this building and we see this thing, and they're building a giant Prius with a huge backhoe shovel on it. Like, they're going fucking digging.
They're going digging. Yeah. Which I agree with that.
Yeah. So
if you send up a little thing with a little brush on it, and then the next thing you said is a shovel,
yes.
you brushed something.
I don't think they found little people. I don't think they found like a subterranean colony that they're going to.
What race would they be?
Huh? Martians.
I'm sorry, I'm obsessed with race. I don't mean to bore you, assholes. I don't want to interrupt your fucking radio lab. But I think it's fucking interesting that, Anyways.
Well, you told me that you thought I was being conspiratorial and overly imaginative. I don't think they found... Here's what I think. I think there's ice under the surface that they have to actually really dig for, because I think they found that. And I think they're going to find, what I'm hoping they find, is evidence of like microbial life or something like that, where some kind of life maybe still exists, or at least at one point did. Because it wouldn't be life as we know it, because the atmosphere is so low, it would be irradiated and stuff like that. I think they're going to go up there and maybe find out that we're not the only rock spinning around.
And just as it was important to get that American flag on the moon,
Well, yeah.
Having an American shuttle come back with a rock that has a little fossil of like a little amoeba that's basically going to look the same as an Earth amoeba, but it was on Mars 17 billion years ago. That's a big deal. It'll forever be. It's like hegemony, It's like we're.
But it would be cool though if they went back and we found out, because we don't know what's up there. What if there was a little tiny underground people like
tiny underground people?
And they see this giant retro rocket thing coming down at the size of the Empire State Building as far as they are.
How amazing would that be if, like, everything, you broke up with your girlfriend, if, like, Verizon's, like, trading on the NASDAQ, people are shooting people left and right, and everything's going right and wrong, and countries are, whoa, China's dollar's above the euro and all this stuff, and then they just dig a thing, and there's little people on Mars, just little dudes in loincloths like Kevin Pollak and Willow. Oh, hello! I live on Mars! Oh, hello! Come inside! Have a cup of Martian juice!
And that's why
everything's just like, fuck it. Like, every guy on every New York stoop, like, dropping a girl off after dinner is like, oh, can I have a kiss? And she's like, I don't know, I'm not committed. It's like, fuck it, life on Mars. Like, just everything changes. Like, so.
That one, was it Spirit or Opportunity, the one that broke down up there? I want to find out that it got Gulliver traveled, like, they tied it down, and they're like, what are these things? And then, like, we keep sending these robots up. And then we find diamonds. The reason we're going back there is they found a big diamond mine there, and we're just going to send these little robot prospectors up there, and they're all going to be alone. They're all going to have beards after a while.
Everything turns into Deadwood up there. It's just because they found basically, let's say 8,000 pounds of diamonds, because it takes like $7 billion to ship them back and forth.
Yeah.
But in the end, you make $1,100. And that's more money than NASA's made ever.
But there's
So everything becomes fucking Deadwood up there.
There's robot whorehouses and stuff like that. There's Al Swearingen, you cocksucker.
I love that they grow beards automatically. The robots just have beards because that's you need to.
One beard is insane, like Humphrey Bogart from Treasure of the Sierra Madre. You know,
All right. Well, this is the closest we've come to having a thematic show on Confessions. That was just a random burst of technology. If you're listening at home, edit it yourself. We talked about Mars.